Hi guys! So as most of you probably know, I am quite a planner addict, meaning that I end up buying a lot of planners, more than I could possibly have a reasonable use for, and then over the course of the year some planners get discarded and I end up with a planner graveyard. So this is my current planner graveyard for 2017, and I know it's only April, but there are actually 7 planners in this graveyard. So most of these are planners that I started the year using and then for one reason or another either switched to another planner or just stopped using them for whatever I was using them for. There's one in here that I've never actually used, and this makes me sad because, like most planner addicts, you know, we want to have a use for all of our planners and we love them, and it's very sad if you have more planners than you can use and they just end up staring at you resentfully. So as I've been looking at my graveyard, I've tried to think of different ways that I could use them, and sometimes I've even taken one off the shelf and experimented with it, using it for tracking or planning a new thing that I haven't been tracking or planning before, and it's never really worked because I think that my system is actually pretty good at the moment. But a few days ago I was looking at all of these and all of a sudden I had this incredible thought. What if instead of trying to find a use for each of these different planners, I used all of these planners in rotation for the same thing, namely as a kind of guest master planner. So I would plan out my week, including work and personal and everything, in this one planner, and I would use it for that week alongside my other planners. And then the next week I would take a different unused planner and do the same thing with that, and I would go through the whole rotation of all of the unused planners. So I thought that this would be kind of a fun way to use them, because unlike trying to find a separate use for each of 7 different planners, they would all be used for the same thing, just not at the same time, and I would get to use them all on a regular basis. And I thought it would also be fun to see how each one of these stacks up as a master planner, because as you'll see in a minute, they all have completely different layouts, they're different sizes, and I think that would be kind of a fun test to see how well can you use each of these various different planners as if it were your main weekly planner. So as you know, I have a work planner and a personal planner, which have a little bit of overlap between them, but not a lot. And then I also have a pretty planner, which is the closest that I get to a master weekly planner that I put work and personal stuff into. But that planner, because it's full of stickers and it's decorated, it's quite a different thing than having a very functional planner that just has a systematic list of all of my different appointments and to-dos. So that's what I'm going to do with these planners, and I'm really excited about it. Because I've got 7 of them, that means that I'll have nearly a 2 months rotation before I get back to the first one, and then I thought by that point I can start over again, you know, maybe change the layout, see what worked, what didn't work, and I thought it would be a really fun planner addict experiment. And on top of that, I'm going to film them, do plan with me's, functional plan with me's with each of these planners, so that you can come along the journey with me and see what it is like every week or every couple of weeks using each one of these planners as a master weekly planner. So for this video, I thought I would go through each of the planners and discuss their layouts and what I'm thinking, how difficult it will be, how easy it will be to use them as a all-in-one comprehensive weekly planner. So we will go from small to large, starting with the Hobonichi weeks. So this week's was the second one that I bought for 2017. The first one is my personal planner, and then I bought this one because it was sold on Amazon Japan, and I was just so taken by the design and the fact that you couldn't get it on the Hobonichi shop that I ended up buying it even though I didn't have a use for it, which is probably a bad reason to buy a planner. Not that I really care, because, you know, that's what we do as planner addicts, but usually if I don't have a designated use in mind for a planner, then I end up having to, you know, find something to use it for off the cuff, and it tends to be more likely to end up in the graveyard. So with this planner, I set it up as a gratitude planner, and I did use it for a few months like that, but then I just started to feel like it was overwhelming and I couldn't keep up with it, and it ended up in the graveyard. So I think that this will be really interesting to use as a comprehensive weekly planner because it's quite a challenge. It's a very small book, it's B6 Slim, and it's got this week on one page layout and then this blank gridded layout, and then it's got all these note pages in the back. So if I'm using it as a weekly overview, which is something that I've considered before, I've been curious how that would work, because in my personal planner I don't put any of my work stuff in, so I don't really have much of a schedule in it. I'm going to have to find a way to incorporate a lot more events, because most of my timed events are work related. And because this doesn't have a timeline, it's very different from how I'm used to using it. So what I'm thinking is that I will try listing all of the events just from top to bottom per day, kind of like I do now in my personal planner, but including work events, and see if that works. And then on the other side, I'll divide it into two, work to-dos and non-work to-dos, and see how that works. So I'm really curious to see how that will fare. Then next up I have a B6 paper blanks planner. This is a horizontal week on 2 pages, and I've used this for a few different things. It started off as a meal planner, then it became a gratitude journal, then it became an expenses tracker, and it really works well as an expenses tracker. But because it was used for so many different things, I stopped wanting to use it for anything because it felt messy in my head. So this will be an interesting challenge as a comprehensive weekly planner, because as you can see, it's got these lined horizontal spaces. It's not that big. This is how it compares to the Hobonichi weeks. And again, it will be quite a challenge fitting all of my work stuff and all of my personal stuff into here, and you don't even have it divided like you do in the Hobonichi weeks. So I think really this kind of planner is mostly designed as a scheduler, like you're just supposed to put your appointments in. I'm not sure how you could fit in appointments and to-dos. So I'm not sure if I should either divide it into appointments on the left and to-dos on the right for personal and work combined, or if I should put work stuff on the left and personal stuff on the right. So I'm going to be thinking about that before I attempt using this, but I think this is going to be quite a challenge, and I'm really just curious to see if it can be done. Could a planner like this incorporate everything that I need for the week? Obviously it wouldn't have all of the details that I put in my work planner and my personal planner, because that's just impossible. But I'm curious to see if it would work as a weekly overview. So that's that one. Next up is my mini happy planner. So I have 2 mini happy planners, and this is kind of a similar situation to the weeks, where a friend gave me this. They brought this from America, and this was not actually the one that I had set my eye on, but you know, different Michaels have different ones, so I liked this one. But then I'd mentioned that I really like this other one, the super fun Hello Beautiful one, and ended up getting sent that in Iraq, which was amazing. So I had 2, and I use that one for my expenses tracker, and I love it. That's my favorite happy planner ever. And then this one was being used for home to-dos, and then eventually, because we had 2 home planners, that just seemed excessive, so I ended up putting the to-dos into the other home planner where we also had all of our events, and that works really well. So I basically just downsized, and then there was no more use for this. So I think that it's going to be a fun challenge trying to use this as an all-in-one planner as well, because it's quite small again, it's personal size, and I think that most people that use this planner, as far as I can tell from watching YouTube videos, use it as an on-the-go planner, combination wallet, the sort of planner that you just take out with you if you're going to the shops. So I think that it would be interesting to see how much I can fit into this, using it as an all-around planner to give an overview of my week. It's actually quite a similar layout to the paper blanks one, so I think that whatever solution I find for this one, I might be able to apply for this one, but I think I might switch it up. So if like I said, if I do appointments on the left and to-dos on the right for that one, then I might here put like work on one side and personal on the other. So I'll see. Then the next one is quite a different type of planner. This is a Moleskine daily diary. So this is 1 page per day, and this is getting closer to an A5 size. It's really like an A5 slim. So this planner was another one that I bought without a clear goal in mind, and I think you can see now there's starting to be a common denominator. Most of these planners that I ended up not using were ones that I had just bought because I liked the look of them and I wanted to try them out, rather than because I knew exactly what I was going to use them for. The planners that I buy with a clear intention in mind, generally I end up using for the whole year. So this one, when I first started off using it as a very stickery, happy, colorful place, that was what I started doing with it, was decorating it without a clear idea of what I was going to use it for. And I tried a couple of different things, highlights of the day, and then things to look forward to for the next day, and none of that really worked. And then for a while I was using it as a daily hourly planner, just when I had a lot of stuff to do in the day and I wanted to see how the timeline would work. So when I'd have to get up in order to be in central London at a certain time, for example. And I kind of fell off the wagon with that. I was doing it for maybe a month, a bit more than that, and then I just stopped, and I'm not sure why. I think that I reached a point of planner overwhelm where I had all of these planners and I just felt like I wanted to streamline, and so I ended up getting rid of everything that felt extraneous that I didn't really need, and this was one of those. So I still really love this planner, and I think that it's going to be quite interesting using this for a weekly overview because it's a daily planner. So this will be a completely different type of layout than any of the ones that I've showed you so far. And so I'm not really sure how I'm going to approach this. Obviously there isn't an issue of space. It's kind of the opposite issue from what you get in the smaller planners. There's tons of space, and it's just a question of how to organize it and also how to use it for the week, because rather than just doing a daily planning session, I would use this for a whole week. And so because you can't see more than one or sometimes 2 days at a time, you kind of have to think about how you want to organize the information so that you can use it for a whole week rather than just day by day. So I think that that will be a fun challenge of a different kind. And then we get to the next one, which is my Juban Ted Show. And this is a planner which I was given by my friend PlannerGirl777. I'll link her channel down below. So I was really curious to see this, but it was also a planner that I didn't have a specific use in mind for, which is totally fine because I was so curious about it, and I've got to make, you know, a video about it and show it to all of you, so it's been more than worth it. And I did a couple of plan with me's in this as well, using this as a master planner. So basically this is where the original idea came from, but it didn't occur to me for quite a while that I could extend it to my other planners as well. So the idea of having a single master planner that shows work and personal. So that was what I was using this for, but I kind of just stopped using it because, again, it's not strictly necessary. So I felt like it didn't have to be part of my weekly lineup because I wasn't really using it intensively. So, but for this, I think it, you know, it will be fun because it will be part of my lineup. If it's one of 7 planners, then when it comes to its week, I'll be excited to use it for that again. Now, this is the only planner in the lineup that I've never used. The rest of them I have written in, used for something, you know, at least for a few days or a week before putting them in the graveyard. This one is another planner that PlannerGirl777 brought me from Japan, and I have wanted to do a review on it for ages, and I just haven't had time to do many videos, and so this is one that hasn't happened yet. So I'm going to do a review on this, but it's a vertical weekly planner, and it has a monthly fold-out section, which is really interesting. I might do the review combined with the plan with me so that you can see what it looks like and then see how I use it. So it's got this fold-out monthly on one page, which is a really cool feature, and then it has a to-do list on the back and a blank sheet, and then it's got the weeklies, and the monthlies are wider so you can easily flip to every month. It's kind of like tabs, and you can also fold it over so that it opens to the exact week and you can see the weekly and the monthly at the same time, which is a really cool feature. So this is a vertical timed planner, so it's more similar in design to the Hobonichi cousin weekly layout or to the Juban Ted Show. So again, this will be quite different because it's A5, but it's pretty narrow. You can see these columns are very narrow, and it's got the dreaded shared weekend. So I think this again will look different in terms of using it as an all-over comprehensive planner. So I'm looking forward to that as well. And then finally we get to the classic happy planner, and this is another one that I bought just because it was my birthday and I had some Amazon vouchers, and I love happy planners. So again, I did not have a clear idea in mind for what I wanted to use it for. So I've tried it for all kinds of different things. For a little while I was using it as an evening planner, just for evening tasks, because we were finding that the evenings were getting overwhelming. Then I used it as a meal planner for a while. That never lasts long. Then I used it just to try to experiment with a couple of different things, like seeing if I could use it for a kind of overview of the week, but just like the main thing, the main event that was happening that day. And I actually did 2 days worth of daily spreads on it like that, but that didn't really take either. So this again is going to be interesting because this is a completely different layout than anything else. It has vertical columns, but it doesn't have a timeline, and instead it's divided into the 3 boxes. You know, so I'm thinking, will I use this for morning, afternoon, evening, or will I use it for work, home, personal? So that is something to experiment with, and I think probably the first time that I use one of these spreads for a weekly layout, I'll do work, home, personal and see how that goes, and then maybe the next time try morning, afternoon, evening, just to experiment with different layouts. So the main point of this experiment is really just to get to try out all these different planners and see how well they all function when using them as a general all-round planner, instead of using them for specific purposes, which is what I've always done before. Like I said, gratitude journal, meal planning, expenses, etc., rather than using them as a single-use planner where you always have enough room and the layout isn't really an issue. I thought it would be fun to put a bit of a challenge into it by using them all for the same thing, which is everything, like all of the planning. Obviously not in tons and tons of detail, but just to give a nice overview of my week. So I'm really excited about this. I think that this will be fun. I'm going to do the first one as soon as possible, and I'm thinking of starting with the classic size happy planner because it just has such a different layout from any of the planners that I'm using at the moment. So I think that that will be a lot of fun. And as always, these are going to be functional, and the videos will be functional plan with me. So I might use stickers in some cases, but if I do, I think I'll put the stickers down beforehand so that what I'm actually doing when I do the plan with me is just the actual planning. So I hope that you enjoyed this and that you will come along on this zany planner addict journey with me as I document the process of trying to use all of these different planners as a master overview for the week. So as always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll be back again soon. Bye!